All right, here's the part 2. Let's say you're not so good at multiplying stuff, and it's hard for you to think of all the perfect squares like 25 or 36 that would simplify a number inside of a square root. If that's you, if you are kind of stuck with that, this is what you can do. You can use factor trees. So I'm going to use 50 as my example, and I'm going to split it up. So 5 times 10, and then 2 times 5. So you guys can see the prime factorization, 2 times 5, that would give you 50. Well, right here we have a double. Okay, we have twins. Okay, so 5 and 5, we know that that would make a perfect square. And so in our head, we're like, oh, that's 25. That would be a perfect square. That would be, that would be something you'd want to use if you don't see right away what perfect square would divide it. And here's another tip. Let's say you have the square root of 50 and you're multiplying it times the square root of 8. Okay, you could multiply 50 and 8. However, since they're already split apart, you can factor tree both these guys and see if there's any twins that you can put together to say, hey, this is a perfect square. Actually, let me change that. I don't want to do 8. I'll do a different one. Let's say 14. Okay, so I have 14. The square root of 14 times the square root of 50. Okay, now instead of multiplying together, I'm gonna split them up. I'm gonna factor tree both of them. And this one over here, I have 2 and 7. Okay, and that's it. 7 I can't split up. So now I have a 5 times 2. And right here, I have a 2 times 7. Okay, so all of these are inside the square root, right? Well, I have a perfect square here and I have a perfect square here. So that would be, and there's other shortcuts. You don't have to write it exactly the way I am. I have the square root of 25. I have the square root of 4. That's because 5 times 5 is 25 and 2 times 2 is 4. And then I have the square root of 7. And 7's obviously not coming out because he's a prime number. This would be 5. This would be 2. And so I would get 2 times 5, which is 10 on the outside, times 7. And that's how you would simplify that. If you had to multiply two numbers. Instead of multiplying them out, because that would be a ginormous number, just factor tree them and see if you can simplify it without having to multiply those big numbers.